Hi guys, I'm here by so I thought I would talk a little bit about what you can experience with San Pedro. So the experience with San Pedro is long, so it lasts around 12 hours. We were just talking to some friends yesterday. They said they had drank San Pedro the other day and it was 22 hours. They said their experience was 22 hours, but that's extremely long. Usually it's more like 10, 12 hours, 14 hours. And you can experience infinite number of things. It's really hard to say. It's like trying to explain the ineffable. I made another video talking about how it's different from ayahuasca. So sometimes it can be helpful to compare two things. So take a look at that. But let's see, the experience with San Pedro, it differs whether you drink it in the daytime or in the nighttime too. So that's another thing. In the daytime and nighttime, but especially in the daytime, you're extremely connected with Mother Earth. So you really feel connected to nature. Um, you can see the plants become alive. Sometimes you can see even the spirit of the plant. You can sometimes communicate with the plants. You can communicate with the earth. I've had experiences where I'm sitting under a tree, kind of talking with this tree. You can communicate with the elements. There are some shamans who are very connected, and for example, they can't even make it lightning or make it thunder. So it puts you on this higher frequency, higher level of consciousness where we can connect with really deeply with nature and with the universe at large. I would say it's a very positive experience for 99% of the people. I've actually never seen anyone have a bad experience with San Pedro. With ayahuasca, you'll see people have more difficult experiences. It's not darker a lot of times, but San Pedro tends to be lighter in a lot of ways. It can be a bit more gentle. So it's kind of like he takes you by the hand and he's showing you things about your life, about the universe, teaching you things, showing you maybe where you have problems in your life or things you need to fix, but it's like a little gentler. It shows you a lot of things that are in your mind too. It'll show you thought processes or patterns with your thinking that you might have. If you think about something a lot, or maybe you have a negative behavior, it's gonna like exacerbate that, make it more extreme, your thoughts in a way, if that makes sense. So not like everything we see. We also have visions a lot of times with San Pedro. This I noticed people tend to have more visions at night. It can be a bit more visionary at night, I think, my experience with people. Not everything we see is like a spirit. If we have a vision, it might just be things that are in our mind. It can be showing us maybe our deepest wishes or our deepest fears too. We can connect with our ancestors with San Pedro. I'm gonna move here, I'm in the smoke. Can connect with our ancestors. It really depends on your intention too, for what you experience. So if your intention is smoke is following me. If your intention is like to connect with your ancestors, there's a good chance you will. You can connect with friendly spirits, guides that you might have. It helps us to be more creative. It moves. I don't know how it works scientifically exactly, but it does something with our like the flexibility of our neurons, something like that. It changes something in our brain that helps us to be more creative, I've noticed. You have more interesting, more creative ideas during and after a lot of times. And let's see, it shows you many different things. It basically just depends on what you need to be shown or what you need to learn. Like I said, it shows you things about your own personal life. It can show you things that you need to change in your life. It can show you maybe future possible timelines or things that might happen in the future. It can show you things from maybe past lives, or I think that it's not really like a past life. It's like there are these different dimensions, infinite number of dimensions that we're existing in, and there's not really like a past, present, or future, but there are all these dimensions just existing infinitely across space or in the universe, basically. So we can connect with these different versions of ourselves sometimes. We can get advice from the plant. We can get advice from Spirit, the Great Spirit, Creator. We can connect with God or Spirit. We can connect with our own soul or our higher self. Someone asked like some personal experiences I've had with the medicine. So one of the most profound experiences I've had actually was maybe a couple months ago with San Pedro, where I drank a few nights finishing my training, and drinking like a lot, so like 4 times the normal amount. And all of these times were very profound. And one of the things I experienced was becoming God. I was God. I saw the world through the eyes of God, and this is not really something you can explain, but basically it showed me what enlightenment is, and that it's like there at all times. It's like God is always right there, just waiting for us to open our hearts. And what is God? God is us. We are everything is God. It is in everything. It's just this energy that has created the universe. It's like the breath of life. The Tao, it's the thing that it gives life to everything. So it's in every plant, it's in all the animals, it's in us. But us as humans, we have this unique ability to like realize our consciousness. So it was showing me all of the wars, all of the suffering that we've had since the beginning of time. Humans showed me like the beginning of humanity. And I was very sad. I cried a lot, realizing like the sadness of God or of consciousness, for all of the suffering we have because we don't realize our own true nature, our true essence as God, basically. And there have been these avatars like Jesus, like Krishna, and they come to Earth, and they're here to help us evolve spiritually and realize that this is our true nature. And when we realize this, it's kind of just like pure bliss. Like there's nothing we need, there's nothing we're wanting, we're not attached to anything in this material world. It's like it was showing me all of these things that I'm always wanting and I'm looking for and striving for, and in that moment it's like it didn't matter. It was just like kind of this perfect harmony, and at the same time it was so sad, but it was also the most beautiful thing you can ever imagine. It's just there's this duality in the universe, and it's always been this like inhale exhale of, or like yin and yang of positivity and darkness, and light and darkness, and it's always kind of going back and forth. And that's kind of like our struggle to evolve our consciousness to this level of God. So this is like one way of talking about it. It's hard to explain in words, but this was definitely like the most profound experience I've ever had with any plant medicine. At this time, I have been learning a lot more about Jesus. So it's showing me a lot of things about Jesus and this time period. and just kind of teaching me some things about Jesus. Actually, I was never a religious person growing up. I was never Catholic or Christian, but I have kind of been drawn more towards that recently. So it's showing me a lot about that, which was fascinating. And it's almost like he's like a grandfather, and he's like sitting on his knee, and he's like explaining to you, like sharing stories. It's just lots of information, sharing stories about the universe, about our connection to the cosmos, about extraterrestrials a lot of times. It's like teaching me things about our connection to them and what they're doing in the universe and with Earth, and just in it just shows you like the infinite nature of reality, and the universe is just infinite. So there's just never-ending amount of knowledge that you can learn, and we'll never learn it all in this lifetime. But it's just sorry, my dogs are barking. But it's just this infinite amount of knowledge and wisdom that we can tap into, and every time you think you've learned so much, and then I go back to drink and it's like I know nothing, there's just so much more to learn. Yeah, so these are like some things you can experience. It's different depending on where you drink it. That's another interesting thing. Like we've drank in different ruins, a few different ruins in Ecuador, which is really fascinating, on different mountains, near waterfalls, near rivers, and it's always a different experience based on where you are. So I told this story in the video about ayahuasca in San Pedro. If you want to take a look at that, I won't repeat it here, but Miguel has a really interesting story talking about how they drank in a volcano crater, an active volcano crater, where there's a community of people living, and he was shown through the medicine and with the fire, like the creation of the volcano and what had happened in that crater over time with the Inca and with the Spanish and things like that. So you can learn about the place you're in too, with San Pedro especially. Let's see here. It's extremely healing. It's equally healing as ayahuasca, even though more people focus on ayahuasca. But it can heal physical, mental, spiritual illnesses and issues we're having, even terminal illness, extremely serious illnesses like cancer. San Pedro can cure, but this really will depend on the shaman you're working with, their ability, their friendly spirits, because it's not the shaman who does the healing, it's the spirits that they channel and the spirits that are in maybe a specific place. They have to want to help the person, and it'll also depend on like the karma of the patient, and if it's something that they're meant to heal in this lifetime, or if this is kind of an illness that they're just supposed to experience in this lifetime. And it'll depend also on your connection with the shaman. So you want to, that's why you always want to make sure you really trust the person you're drinking with. You have good feelings with them. And but I can make another video talking about like things that can heal. But let's see. So a lot of times you'll feel sometimes you might just feel relaxed with the medicine. You might not have a lot of visions. Other times it might be really emotional. People might cry or laugh. Sometimes it makes you vomit sometimes. And there's like the whole spectrum. A lot of times people say, oh, it was very subtle, very subtle. But if you drink a little bit more, and a lot of times I've noticed if you drink at night, it tends to be a bit, I'm getting followed by the smoke, a bit stronger and deeper. And I think I'll just leave it at that. I guess if there's any other questions, feel free to let me know. If there's anything I missed. I guess one other thing I can say is we usually do a fire. We do ceremony here with the fire, but not everyone does. And with the fire though, You can see things in the fire. You can ask questions to the fire. Fire is like a guardian spirit, a protector, and it's also a grandfather. And so we can also ask the fire things and receive answers through the fire too, which is pretty interesting. And moving the logs shifts the energy of the people too, and it can like uncover hidden things about you when you move the log over. So it's really interesting working with the fire too. Alright, so I'll leave it at that for some experiences that you might have, or things you can experience with San Pedro.